Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. You are listening to Another Thing. We are Joella and Helen, and this is episode 7.
Crikey, lucky 7. Isn't that some people's favourite number or something, lucky 7?
I'm sure that actually that was a question that got asked the other day from Milo. What's your favourite number? That was I'm starting off early with a Milo question.
I like 7 because my house number when I was a kid was 7.
Oh.
So it's kind of, like, I guess it is 7 for me. So
I said 28 because that's the date of my birthday.
Okay. Well, here we go.
And we're off to the races.
Off.
So I have an opening banter question for you. It literally just came to me as we were driving here. So on my way home, I went past this house, and a while back, this house got put up on the market. And I'm a house shopper for fun. Mm-hmm. So I will go on, Realtor places and just Google what's for sale. Not that I can afford a house, not that I own a house.
Just a bit of dreaming.
I just like to dream. And so a lot of the times when houses in my village come up for sale, I'm super curious and also quite nosy. And there was this one that came up just around the corner. We drove past it on the way here. And it got for sale and someone bought it. And I was like, man, that's a lot of renovations to do to even have that house as a livable place. And so I've just watched it over time get renovated.
Yeah.
I went past this afternoon and they've started making a garden. And I was like, oh, I got all excited about the fact that they were starting to make a garden. But I felt so proud of them. Of like, oh, you guys are doing such a great job and now you're making a garden. I felt it was just this really nerdy moment. So this is my question for you. Do you ever have those moments when you're driving past on your usual everyday route where you see something develop and change and you have a reaction to it?
Not really. There was a house that has had extensions and has been done that I do drive past. So I guess I look at that every day and be like, oh, look, how are they getting on? This is what they're doing. But I don't have that same reaction that you had. And then when it's done, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks pretty good.
Okay.
Wish I could afford to live there. But we do look at houses that have come up for sale in our local area, just to be nosy on the price. And also, if it's a neighbour's house, I'd like to have a good little look inside. If like a neighbour that I don't know, see what it's like inside. Some people go to open houses just to have a nos about.
Sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
You just go and have a nosy in someone else's house and
be allowed to.
Yeah, it's like the closest thing to approval stalking you can possibly do.
Oh, well, I don't know what the house is. You'll have to tell me. Point it out.
Okay, I'll point it out to you for next time.
Or give me a description of exactly where it is.
Actually, the outside of it is not too fancy or anything, but it's a big house and it's probably a historical house, yeah. But there was another house on that same road, because I've been driving the same road for the last 6 years, no matter what job I've been on. And this house got built, and then they planted a beautiful garden, and then they had a market stall outside of their house, and then the house got sold. And I was so sad because I was like, you guys have done such a nice job to that house. It looks really pretty. And then it got sold, but the people have semi-kept it up in terms of how it looks.
Oh, nice.
They haven't kept up the garden and they haven't kept up the stall. But I do look past that house and I'm like, oh, I saw you from the beginning stages of when you were just a piece of land.
Oh, my God. Are you okay?
Welcome to the inner world of Joella.
We've had a weird day, but are you okay? It was so slow this morning, and then we got a bit busy at lunch. So it's been an odd day today. And Joe's telling me
is that the excuse for my random introduction?
We did have a moment today where I'd sent somebody home because it was quiet, and then we obviously got a bit busy. Mm-hmm. But at one point there, and you pointed it out, I could have, if I had said Margaret, about 3 people would have turned round. Because it was like a big gang of Margarets by the look of it.
Because this is the picture. Helen was at the coffee machine. Someone next to her was serving. And sometimes when it's starting to get a little bit busier and there's person serving at the till and they're just taking a while to make up their mind. And as the coffee person, it's like you've done your job, you've run the last coffee. You go to the next person in line and you kind of shout out to them, can I get a drink started for you? And that's what you had done to these 3 ladies. Can I get a drink started for you? Can I get a drink started for you?
And she was like, oh, yes, I'll have a salad. Well, fuck me, lady. Is that a drink? That is not a drink.
And so I said to you, I was like, call out Margaret and I bet you she respond.
There's quite a few of them that would have responded today. We had somebody else at the weekend. She ordered a takeout and it was being made in the kitchen and she sat on the side and it was all put in the bag. Go to the side with the bag and call out her name. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's me. And then she said, what's in the bag?
What do you mean?
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean? What's in the bag? Your order's in the bag. But the person that handed it over that got this question, then she's like, well, what's in the bag? And they went, well, a BLT. And I started listing it off. It was so funny.
Is this the one? I think it was. I think I know the person, and I think the person asked me, what do you do when you're annoyed at a customer when they ask you dumb questions?
Oh.
And so he said, this person asked me this question the other day, and so I handed them the bag and they're like, what's in the bag? And he says, there's a knife and a fork and a couple of butters and there's your soup and a napkin.
And it was at the end of the day, so it was one of those
passive-aggressive moments.
And also where you get the giggles about something. I kept laughing about it. But what's in the bag? Well, it's what you've ordered it. What did you think we were just going to give you the sandwich? It's not wrapped up and put in a bag.
Did you just arrive here? Did you just forget what happened?
And then the matcha lady that came up and asked if our matcha was sweetened, and yes, it was sweetened. Mm-hmm. Then she asked for extra matcha. And I was watching them make it, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why, those people, I sort of stood around because I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah.
And she had a sip of her drink, and she made a wincing face. And I was like, is everything okay? Why did you put so much sugar in this? I said, well, we haven't put the sugar in. It's already pre-sweetened. Well, it's awful, she said. I said, well, and you've asked for extra matcha. You've asked for extra of this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see the bag, she said. So we showed her the bag, and she said, well, this shouldn't be in here. This shouldn't be in here. And I'm like, well, it is. This is the one we have.
She was complaining about having cane sugar in there already.
Oh, and something peptic. This shouldn't be here if it's real. And I said, well, no problem. I said, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't take that stuff out.
Yeah.
Do you want me to make you something else? Happy to make you something else. No, I just want my money back. This is awful. So, yeah, that was how we ended the day.
Oh, such a terrible way to end a day.
I know.
Sometimes.
I'm like, where are these people come from at the end of the day?
I had said to one of the girls that served her, and she was like, yeah, we explained to her, like we mostly do to everybody.
Yeah, especially if they ask.
Yeah. Yes, it is pre-sweetened. We don't have control over that. Okay, I'll have another scoop then. What is she thinking?
Silly
what planet is she on? What was her name? What would her name have been?
Oh, her name was...
Definitely not a Margaret, because that's a different kind of calibre.
She's not a Margaret. Linda.
Linda? I was thinking Bianca.
She's like she could have been a Bianca.
Yeah.
She's like a Karen, but not a Karen.
Mm-hmm.
She's, because...
Karens have a bad connotation to them. I understand the Karen theme, but we don't necessarily have Karens that come into our cafe, really, do we?
No, not really.
I think Bianca's a good name.
Okay, we'll go with Bianca.
Actually, this reminds me, I think a Bianca actually came in the other day, and it was one of those names where the kids said Bianca. Order for Bianca. And I was like, is that how you say Bianca? And then I thought, I wonder how Helen says it. I don't know if you were there at the time for me to ask, or maybe it was just busy. But you say Bianca.
Bianca.
Not Bianca.
Not Bianca.
Okay.
I feel like I don't know.
That sounds very hoity-toity. Bianca.
Bianca. Sounds like a completely different name.
Yeah.
Bianca.
Anyway.
Do you want some exciting news?
Yes.
We got 2 questions from our listeners this week.
Whoop, whoop.
Right, I'm going to do the first one now.
Okay.
And then which is more of a discussion, really. And then the second one, well, I guess they both are. And the second one at the end.
Okay.
So this one is, when you are eating your roast dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, whatever, do you eat it separately, or do you eat it like a piece of everything on your fork?
Is this the listener question?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this at work before.
Probably, yeah.
Because I'm an everything on my fork.
Yeah, me too.
Flavour.
So also, some people eat all the horrible stuff that they don't really like first, so they have the nice stuff left at the end. If there was Brussels sprouts, if there was fart balls on my plate, I'm eating those as quickly as I can.
You call them fat balls?
They're awful. And I know I might get beef for this because there's a lot of sprout lovers.
That's okay. I like Brussels sprouts.
But I am not a Brussels sprout person. My granddad used to eat mine at Christmas, take mine off my plate and eat it. So in that instance, I would eat those first because I'm like, those, I do not want those anywhere near anything else. But then I'll eat everything all at once.
Yep.
So there's some my family members that will eat it separately.
One thing at a time.
Amy eats one thing at a time at home.
I just
disbelief. I
It's
like
not
a taste
disbelief,
of a bit
it's
of
just-
everything.
Yeah. You want to enjoy the whole meal. You don't want to just eat peas.
No.
Like, that seems a bit boring.
Yeah.
You want a bit of peas, you want a bit of carrot, you want a bit of mashed potato all shoved in there with a bit of gravy on top. Well, you don't like gravy,
We
so
can
not for you.
Take the gravy off, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same, bit of everything.
Yeah. So I have a friend of mine that we meet up for breakfast every now and then. So once every couple months. And she has actually mentioned to me, we've been talking, and then she'll just stop talking and she'll look at me and she's like, "You're eating everything on one fork." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You got a bunch of everything on one fork." And I was like, "Yeah? Do you not eat like that?" She's like, "No." So we've talked about it before too, because she's noticed that I'll have like a little bit of toast and a little bit of bacon and a little bit of egg.
Yeah.
And I'll like put a little bit of potato, because there's usually like some good fried potatoes
Yeah.
inside. And I'll like have a little bit of everything, and then I'll pop it in my mouth because it's just a delicious morsel.
So she'll eat the egg first.
Well, not
potatoes.
first, but like have one bite of
go
egg.
round in a circle maybe.
Yeah. And then a bit of bacon. But it's funny because it's happened twice now where she's like commented on it. And I said to her last time, I was like, "This is the second time you've commented." She's like, "Yeah, I noticed again."
I think you're right about that, the people that eat separately. I don't think they eat the whole, unless it's something they don't like.
So you're not eating a whole turkey leg first?
No,
You're having,
I
like,
think it's
a bit of turkey.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. You're
Bit of
going around
stuffing.
and I'll have a bit of this now, I'll have a bit of that now. But unless you don't like it, then you're just getting rid of it.
Yeah. Well, there are people out there that don't like things on their plate touching each
No,
other. So
yeah.
everyone's got their own little
My
quirks.
sister didn't like things touching on her plate.
No?
They had to be separate when we were youngsters. Maybe still.
Well,
still.
let us know.
Well, she'll
Helen's
let me
sister.
know, and she sends me little messages every time she listens to the podcast. So I get like a 40-minute snippet, and then it's gone. I'm like, well, she's listening to the podcast because she gets back to me. She got back to me about pikelets.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong about pikelets.
We have a very small audio clip from Helen's sister, Rachel.
Yeah.
She's going to feature on the podcast. This is what she said about pikelets.
We do have pikelets here. We spell it Pikelet, and they're like squashed crumpets, like tiny, thin crumpets. Not as good as crumpets, the big fat Warburton's crumpets. But yeah, they're pikelets. They're for people that pretend they don't eat much.
Well, thanks so much, Rachel, for letting us know. If you are wondering what the heck a crumpet is, you can Google that one. We're not even going to talk about crumpets. And I was like, I don't think
crumpets.
I don't think that's a Canadian thing. That's a New Zealand thing, and that's a UK thing.
Yeah.
Crumpets with some butter and some golden syrup.
Oh, I have just crumpets and butter.
Oh, no golden syrup.
Maybe some cream cheese. Oh, you could put anything on a crumpet.
Oh, but
Some
golden
people
syrup
put
and then it
crumpets
starts
with
oozing.
eggs on. Like you put your runny egg over the top and then fry it, and it's all in the little holes.
I've never tried that before.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Anyway,
Anyway.
we won't go into that, but Google crumpets. It's a delight. You won't get disappointed.
Oh.
On that note, we're going to have a cup of tea. We'll be back.
Okay, we will.
Alrighty, and we are back. So I have a question for Helen.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and we were kind of like talking about topics and what we can discuss on the podcast. And I said to you, you are a great firer of people, which got that reaction.
I don't fire people every week. Just
No.
for the record.
But Helen is a great firer of people in the sense that you do it so well. You give people you kind of send them away in a good bubble of you're not a shit person. You just did a shit job. Or not always the case, but
Yeah.
you do it really, really well. I think you've got a gift for it. and also just who you are as well. It's not something that I know that you enjoy.
Oh, hate it.
Yeah, and I know that you've had some really gnarly ones as well that you've just walked away and just like, that was not nice.
It's not nice. And if I know it's coming, I just don't feel great in the day.
No.
I almost want to get it over and done with. And sometimes you have to wait for them to come in, or you've made an appointment.
Yeah. And so my question to you, or kind of like our discussion for the next couple of minutes, is how did you learn to be a good firer, or what are some of the techniques that you've used? And maybe you can help unpack, because I've never actually sat next to you while you're fired somebody. I can I see who they are going into it, and then I see how they leave, and they're still able to kind of like hold their head up high. Then, like there's still an element of you take care of them.
Well, it's important to, it's a horrible job, but you have to treat it with, like a caring nature and still be very professional about it. So you'll sit them down, and there's no point willy-nilly saying, it's a lovely day today. They know that they're there for some reason, and
Sometimes they don't always know.
No, they don't always know. They've probably already guessed sometimes.
Yeah.
And I try and make most of my meetings with staff like a sandwich. I was taught that early on. So you're positive, and then the bit in the middle that they need to work on, and then the bit at the end, which is another positive, So it's called the negative sandwich. So I was taught that early on in anything that you do, like appraisals or anything like that. So I kind of take that approach a little bit. But just take it to tell them while they're there and explain why this has happened and why this you're not going to continue working here. But give them all the facts.
You don't beat around the bush. You don't leave them answer or questioning what else or what could have I done. You kind of give them all of the basic facts.
I give them everything.
Yeah.
That, and the good. You did great in this. You're just not a right fit for here, or like all of that. So that's the sandwich thing I've given them. And then you have to let the person respond, because they might have questions. So you let them respond, and then you listen, but you can't let them. You can't let the conversation get away, because you're still there to fire them.
Right.
So then you just have to scoop it back in, like, I appreciate that. It's not going to make a difference in this situation. And then just tell them, like, it just isn't the right place for you. It doesn't mean all of your good qualities, you can move on to somewhere else. And, you can use me as a reference. And I just beef them up a bit before they go, because to be fair, it is where we're currently working. That would be the only reason mainly that they're just not the right fit, or they're not, because you have to be quick. You have to, see the bigger picture, and we give people time. So this is normally during their probation time, which we tell them about when they start. And that's what I've done all the way through. But I think I probably messed up a few times early on.
Right.
Meaning, like, just because you don't know how to handle it, or it's backfired, or I've let the conversation get out of hand, and then I'm like, then I'm like, my feet are going under the water. How do I get this back? Because I still need to fire you, but you're trying to convince me.
Yeah. And there's definitely an art to creating that sandwich and doing it well.
Yeah.
Because I've had some of those conversations before with some staff members of having to do the sandwich of like, okay, these are the things that you are really great at. And some of them it's like, well, okay, so what are the things that I'm not great at? Because I know that that's probably coming. And then you've got to kind of figure out how to put that in there, and then still round it out with, we still really appreciate and value who you are.
Yeah.
So we need to see these improvements.
Yeah.
Otherwise otherwise it's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
And so
you also have to make them see that we're not just picking on things. This is something that's going to better you in your job. So it's not necessarily something that you're doing wrong. This is something we'd like you to change how you do this, because then you might get this result instead of this result. So you're trying to coach them as well at the same time. If younger people come in for interviews and you're like, you're just a little bit too young for this, like, environment, I would interview the same way, but then I'll tell them that I will not be hiring you, and these are the reasons why. And maybe if you go to like a larger company that can have extra time for training and get a bit of experience. I said, and who knows, in a few years' time, you may be at the level that I need you to be at when you first
because
start.
they've got corporate support to be able to carry those kinds of people, but we're an individually owned place.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit harder for us to kind of carry people who aren't able to step. And it's such a hard environment to step into. We have so many young people that, I mean, I got to take the head off to a lot of them because they do come in and it's a very high-paced, high-stress job. And some of them just do so well under the pressure.
They do. But if you think about it also, some of the people that are younger, we start off on smaller shifts and not the shifts where they're going to become overwhelmed in the middle of a busy lunch Saturday. So they might come in the afternoon and then just learn the basics and do the prep work and get to know the people. And then, you know, the following year, they'll be getting a few more shifts and stepping up a bit. And so we build them into that. But if you normally know after the first 3-4 weeks, maybe even less sometimes, you're like, oh, I've
not cutting the mustard.
I've messed up here, or this is, you know, they just haven't worked out the way you think they're going to work out. Because sometimes people give you an interview.
And they're great.
Yeah, and then they step behind and you're like,
not great.
What the hell happened to that person?
So do you have some stories to share, or whether it's firing stories that kind of maybe didn't go so well, or maybe people were trying to convince you to keep the job, or even hiring stories?
Had I can do better. I can change. I can do that. But I have given you the time to do that and change. This isn't the first conversation. You know, like I've not let you work and then just sit you down and say, all right, you're going. Like we have tried. And there was one there's been a few, but there was one particular young girl that worked for us. And we'd really tried to mold her. She was quite young coming in. And I asked her to do something a few weeks before or the week before. This is how you do it. Remember that. And we came back the following week and this had been going on for a while and she did it not the way that I'd explained. And I said, this needs to go on this. Well, I didn't know. Nobody told me. I'm like, yes, they did. I told you. And then I'm like, right, that's it. I'm done. Like, especially do this again.
And it's not also about the unwillingness to learn, but it's that back chat also of like, well, nobody told me. And when you know that you're the person that actually taught them,
that
it's
I've been really trying.
Yeah, not going to put up with this bullshit when you're like, well, nobody said. No. I know I've said many times. So and if you can't pay attention,
go meet me at that table over there.
Yeah.
But there's been some where it's heartbreaking because you really want to be able to fix it for them, and people have been desperate to have this job and we've given them the opportunity and it just hasn't worked out and we feel just as upset about it. And then having to deliver that news and then, you know, like they could tear up and get all emotional and it's really hard. That's really hard. So,
and the hard thing that you have to carry too is the knowing that this is as much as you, and especially because you care about these kids as mum, like as a work mum too, you have such a great heart for that. And so there have been a couple of occasions where you're just like, oh, it's just like my kid, or like, that kind of reaction.
I really want this to work, but it's not.
But there's still the thing that you have to balance of this is still a business. And as much as we want to try and carry you, because we have carried you this whole time, and we just can't as a business to afford to do that.
No, which we've learned as a business as well, because we were not very good at that before. And that happens in a lot of places where you work, where you carry somebody because you either think it's going to change or, you know, like it's a little bit more difficult in England to get rid of somebody. There is still a probation period, but then you have to go through the whole, this is 1 warning, this is 2 warnings. I'm not sure that that's the law here.
It's not the law, because I found that out.
Yeah. I feel like we would still, it's not like you haven't already not warned them, but, you know, had a discussion. You need to see these improvements, you know, and I'll revisit this next week. And, you know, like, so we have those, I guess.
Yeah.
There was one time when somebody had done something inappropriate and they got suspended. And then, you know, then there were certain things that we had to go through. I remember that. and then come in for a meeting and, do you understand why? I didn't do that one. I had just had to do this. I just had to tell him that you have to go home.
Right.
And I have to hand this over. Because at the time I wasn't the manager. I was looking after the place. But yeah, I'm like, for God's sake, why does this happen when I'm here? Then I had to do like a 15-hour day because I had to send him home. I'm like... And another time I said to somebody, like when you tell your kids, we're not doing this today, you can't backtrack because you've given a false message.
Yeah.
There was one kid I used to work with in England, always late, always late. And I'd said, like I tried to work with him, and I said, if you come in late, and he really needed the money, if you come in late tomorrow, I'm sending you home. And I'm thinking, you better come in because otherwise I have to do your shift.
Yeah, I have to follow through with my threat.
Yeah. And he comes in and sure enough, he's late. And I said, well, don't even take your coat off.
Go home.
He said, oh, it's only 5 minutes, please, please. I'm like, nope, off you go.
Oh, gushing.
Yeah, it was. Because I'm like, you fucking right. Now I have to stay till close. But you have to stick to it. It's, it's lessons learned. It's for them too. Like he wasn't late the next day.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, especially with this environment when you do work with a lot of younger kids. It's like we're kind of like introducing them to the workplace. And if you don't take this workplace seriously, how are you, and if you're going to go to university and pay for 4 or 5 years worth of college, spend all that money and then go into workplace and then just dick around.
Yeah, or turn up for your shift right on time because that's late.
Yeah.
You have to turn up early so you can take your coat off, hang your coat up, and then you
get
can
yourself sorted and then you're on time, you start your shift well. So they're basic skills that we're trying to teach, but unfortunately we're the people that are teaching them.
Yeah.
While they go off and succeed in the rest of their life.
So I was interviewing one girl and her father was sitting on the next table.
Just eavesdropping.
Well, just making sure everything was okay, kept looking over. And I'm like, yeah, no. I'm not employing you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm employing your kid.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating because I know as a parent, you want to make sure that your child comes in and gives the right impression. But you cannot come in and try and get a job for your child
kid
or next to your kid. That's not teaching them anything. In my opinion, you've got to send them in on their own, and they may well F up and not get the job, but they're not going to get the job even if you're there, because that's worse, because we're hiring them, not you. We don't want like a helicopter mum in all the time.
So as a public notice to parents out there,
send your kids in by themselves. Look at where your kids are applying to. If it's a restaurant, try not to send them in the middle of a Saturday lunch rush to hand in a resume.
Wrong time to do it.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, sometimes maybe in the evening in restaurants because there's probably another manager on. But
yeah, and early evening too. So between the hours of 4 and 6 if that restaurant's open at that time.
Try and find out the name of the manager if you can ahead of time so that you can leave an envelope addressed to that person, so then they'll definitely get it, because otherwise, like people might not put it in the right place.
Yeah.
But don't come in. I've given kids that advice before.
Yeah?
Like I've taken the resume at the end and I've said, listen, I will look over this when I've got time. But in future, just have a look at where you're handing them in. And I would suggest you don't hand resumes in at restaurants or busy cafes in the middle of a lunch. And they're like, oh, right. So hopefully you're teaching them
some basic skills. And also parents too, because as a parent, I'm sure you want the best for your kids, or you just want them to feel confident and to, some kids might have anxiety to talk to, like all of the things, especially these days that kids are struggling with.
Yeah.
And these days parents are either overprotective or that, they want to do whatever they can for their kid.
Yeah.
Totally fine. But also your kid has to stand up for themselves and actually be their own independent person.
Yeah.
And it gives so much more of a message to you as a manager.
Yeah.
And even to me, if they come up to me too, if you're not there, and I take their resume and chat to them, it's like, no, we don't want to talk to the parent. And if you can't actually speak for yourself, then why should you be standing in front of a customer serving them?
Yeah.
And having the confidence to deal with that situation if your parent is talking for you.
Yeah, my kids have always gone in, well, they wouldn't want me they wouldn't have wanted me standing next to them anyway. I mean, it was slightly different for Amy. She did her work experience
where we worked,
and then was introduced that way. But I do remember her having to sit down with the boss and him saying, you know, you're not going to get any special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you know, like we can fire you. It's always difficult when you have family members work. So
it is a little bit more trickier, but still,
yeah,
you've got to go through the process of, you're not going to go through me. You're going to go to the right person. You can go talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Have an interview with him.
And then just be supportive of your kids and just say, you know, I'll drive you.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be nervous to go in. And you're like, just go in, just drop it off, and then we'll move on to the next place. Or it's very hard these days because a lot of people don't take resumes. You have to fill things in online. Like it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
But most of the time for us,
it is a walk-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think that you should be walking in.
Well, you can email in, and sometimes that works because the emails come to me and then I go over them and then I filter through and send them off to you if I think that they're
But
worthy.
I always think that even if you've applied for a job and it's always online, also going in, there's no harm in going in and also dropping a resume off, but they see you and that reminds them, oh, you can work full time. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe. And maybe you'll get in that way.
Oh, you actually wear shoes when you walk into an establishment. You're not in your slip-on Uggs.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to see. Also, you should note to yourself, don't come in and apply for a job when you got your slip-on Uggs.
You've got something against these slip-on Uggs.
Well, I do in general, but someone has come in before and they handed me their resume and I just looked them up and down and I was just like, you're in your tracksuit pants, you've got your slip-on Ugg boots, like not even the proper Ugg boots, just like the slip-ons with your socks. I'm like, I'm sorry, but just put some actual pants on and some shoes.
Even just some jeans.
Yeah.
What about Surfer Boy that came in? Surfer Boy came in for...
This is pulling at memory strings, but I can't remember.
Just came in looking like he was going to go surfing, his hair, and he's like had a vest on and... Like, okay, not sure this is going to be the one.
Are you in the right country there, sir?
Yeah, I know.
Maybe you should be in Australia.
Yeah, he should have been. He should have had his jangles on.
His what?
Jangles, aren't they called jangles? What's a jangle?
A jangle.
It's a flip-flop. What are they called?
A jandal.
Oh, a jandal.
Yeah, but not in Australia. They're called thongs in Australia.
Oh, that's a
which is the strangest thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's a G-string.
Yeah.
Right there. No, they call they flip-flops in Australia are thongs. Flip-flops in New Zealand are jandals.
Or now they could be jangles.
Not jangles. If you're curious, because a lot of people ask me, why are they called jandals? And it's actually Japanese sandals. That's where it derives from. Because I Googled it once. Someone asked me and I was like, I don't know. So there you go. Jandals, we call flip-flops.
You didn't have to look it up and tell everybody.
I knew that one.
You knew that one.
Already researched it.
How would you find interviewing people? Well, we do slightly different interviews where we are now, though. It's not so formal and it's not like, you know, like you've got to ask open-ended questions, like tell me a bit about yourself, and so that you don't shut them down when they start talking.
Yeah, it's definitely an art form that I had to learn when I was interviewing people, because I'd interview somebody and then they'd leave and then I think, crap, I didn't actually ask them this basic question.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't think on the spot very well when it's those questions that I need to find information from somebody. When I'm actually just talking one-on-one in a conversation, I can ask good questions and I think I'm a good question asker.
Yeah, you are definitely.
But when it's in an interview setting, it's just like all the things run through my fingers and I can't remember. And
so you have to just find a spot that you can elaborate on what they've told you. Yeah. So if they say, what would you like to do in your spare time? They can't say yes or no, so they have to give you an answer. And then you can ask a few questions about that and show them interest in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, like where have you worked before? And, you know, our interviews are quite more of a chatty interview.
They are.
Because
they're a little
we
less
hire on personality. We don't have to ask them all the, you know, interview questions.
Yeah. I remember I did do one interview once and it was for a university student. And I think I asked a couple of things and I was like, okay, great. I think I've covered everything. And then I you know, had a chat with you and I was like, I think I'm going to recommend this person to you to just like have an extra
Yeah.
second interview. And then you were like, what about this? And what about that? And I was like, shit, I forgot to ask those questions.
Like availability and those sort of
Yeah,
questions.
just more like what is the class schedule and what, like,
Yes.
it was just some of those intricate
Details that
details
we
that
would
I actually
know.
needed to know. But it's those things that I'm just like, but it's, again, it's something that I haven't done.
Yeah.
I've been in a management role for probably half the time that you have, but my experience is not as extensive as yours is. I don't really have a full muscle that I kind of like use consistently. And so I'm not like, okay, now I know this rhythm and now I know this rhythm.
Yeah. And it's when you make the mistakes that you won't
remember.
forget next time. So there'll be a list of things you need. You know, what's your availability? Are there any days you can't work? And do you do rep sport? You know, like all those things that you need to.
Yeah.
Then you do that. But it is. I think either way, interviewing or firing, you've just got to be very respectful. This is a human being that you're dealing with, and give them all the pluses and give them the minus. You know, like you've just got to be respectful because they're going to go home to their mum or dad, and you just have to imagine that that's your kid coming in. You're like, God, you know. So if they're treated well and sent out with a little bit of a, you know, slight spring in their step, even though they've been fired, then
you've done it well.
We've done it well. Yeah. We haven't had anyone come back. One person come back. One mum come back.
And had a go at you?
Wanted to know the details.
Okay.
So wasn't really any of their business. So I didn't go into too much. I didn't tell them all of the details of the reasons that were why. So, because it isn't any of their business, but I just told them it was just the best thing. You know, went over it briefly, but that's if they've lost their job and they don't want to tell their parents, I'm not going to tell them why or what they've done. So, but only happened once, luckily.
Yeah. I think I've had to fire a very small handful of people before. And so I don't have like major stories. I do remember one that I don't remember what exactly happened, but I just know that it didn't go very well because it was just like, you're just not pulling the punches that's needed for this particular job. And then the other one was more of just this kid. I remember talking to him once and I sat him down and I just said to him, look, you've got so, and he's like, don't tell me I've got potential. And I was like, but you do. You've actually got so much good in you and you've got so much in you. You just can't be asked to pull it out. And I can try my best, but if you're not going to cooperate with me, then I can't do anything. You just don't, there's nothing in you that wants this enough. So I can't do anything else but let you go.
Yeah.
And it was kind of that conversation and it was heart-wrenching because he was so young. I think he must have been about 15 or 16. And I wanted to give him the best because he did have so much potential in him. But I'm like, dude, if you're not going to grab hold of it, I can't do much for you.
We have hired some people that we think we can turn around. I mean, we're not, I don't know who we think we are. But,
well, you just want to see the best in these younger people, and you just you see what can come out of them, and you want to try and pull something out of them, but when they don't want it,
if they don't want it, it's true.
Yeah,
there was one person that we hired years ago, and their demeanor was just a bit sloppy, you know, in the way that they walked or the way. But I don't know what we thought we could magically do, but we really wanted, you know, to give this kid a chance, because some people, if you don't get given a chance, you're not going to be able to show that you can shine.
Right.
And sometimes you're not going to shine, and sometimes you'll find somewhere and all of a sudden you're like, oh,
there's
bingo,
the bright shining
this is
star.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this kid walked into work and one of the other managers at the time just looked at me and just was like, shook their head like, what the hell?
And put a hand across their throat, right? Cut it off.
Cut it off.
What
are we doing? What are we doing?
This one.
And I'm like, oh God, they're so right. We just thought we could perform some magic here. But we've made some mistakes. So it's always going to happen.
It is always going to happen. But ultimately, I hope that what you can hear from this, listeners, is firing somebody, first of all, is not an easy thing. It's not a fun thing. It's not, but it can be something that can be done well. And for my friend over here, I think you do it very, very well.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I hope I never have to sit down with you at a table.
That's all right. We'll just go on to this next job that we're doing together.
Exactly, yeah.
And then for a public service note, as parents, try and encourage your kids to apply for a job on their own. Don't talk for them. Don't talk on behalf of them. Give them the opportunity to stand up and let them shine, because if they, we might be unique in how we operate our business or where we work, but we do want to give people the best opportunity to be able to shine and see where those diamonds are and try and scrub them off and see how they sparkle.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what we want. We want sparkly people working for us.
Alrighty, shall we take a break, and we will regroup and see you in a minute.
Okie dokie.
Alrighty, we're back. So I had something that happened this week that I have not actually told you about yet. And from it has drawn a question. So I'll tell you what happened and then I'll ask you my question.
Right.
So one of my niece's friends is currently in university, and for her paper she had to write a paper of some sort about somebody from a different culture than hers. So she got in touch with my niece and she's like, could I interview someone from your family? And my niece was like, you should probably interview my aunt because she'd give you some great answers. And I was like, cool. So she reached out to me, asked me, and then she came over on Monday night and sat in my house. And I was like, I don't really know her. Like, I know of her and we've met a couple of times because she's one of my niece's great friends. So we sat down and started chatting, and then she started asking me about my life. And I was like, oh, this is not quite what I thought it was going to be. But then just like asked me some really interesting questions and got me talking about New Zealand and why I came and what I missed from home and how the culture of New Zealand has shaped me into my experiences of being in Canada. It was a really neat night and I really enjoyed it. And then my other niece actually turned up. And so she sat in the conversation as well. And so it was neat to have her there because there were some parts of my life that she probably hasn't heard about before or just like not in depth. And then there were some parts where she was actually very helpful because she kind of reminded me, oh, you should say that or you should say this. But one of the things that I was kind of talking about and describing was how the Māori culture of within New Zealand has kind of shaped a little bit of how I see New Zealand. And it's not part of my heritage, but I love the culture so much and I really value and appreciate the substance of who they are as a people group. And so a lot of times when I think of New Zealand, it's a lot of cultural things from the Māori culture that kind of like makes me think of home.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to describe it. And yeah, it was hard for me even in the night to kind of describe it. And so just sharing a little bit of this with my niece's friend and afterwards I just thought, oh man, talking about that really just made me miss home. And it made me kind of remember home a lot more than what I usually do in my everyday life. So that's what happened. And so my question that I was thinking about, I was like, for me personally, when I think of Māori culture and even te reo, which is the language, and there's some words that I know and there's some songs in te reo that I really love listening to. And it just like, there's like a call in my heart that I'm like, oh, that's New Zealand for me. And that's what makes me miss home so much. And so I'm just thinking like for you as a Brit, what is it that when you start talking about this thing or when you start thinking about like these kind of conversations or something that's like innately British makes you miss home or just think, oh, that's where I come from? Like that's one part I'm thinking of, like maybe when the Queen died.
Oh, yeah.
That was for you. But anyway, that's me answering for you. But
no,
for you, what would be your answer? Or
well,
do you have an answer?
Those times definitely you think about home, like, and how the country will be dealing with that. Like you feel like you know how the country will be dealing with that. And I did watch all of that. And I know people over here just didn't understand that's how that would make you feel from being from England. So that it's huge. So even like the pomp and pageantry of weddings and stuff, it's like, oh, that's just so British. That makes you feel British. You don't really see that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So those big occasions in England make you miss home. For me, though, the thing that I miss the most is the family. That's my draw, like, and if people come and visit and they go and visit somewhere that I go, like Brighton or something, you're like, oh yeah, you just remember it then, don't you? But there's just lots of different things. Or if people talk about it, you just, like you think about it a lot. Or when I go into stores and I'm like, oh look, there's a cup with a bus on it, or like, it's just the small things that you reminds you of home all the time, and especially here because there's quite a lot of British.
There are quite a lot of British shops, aren't there?
And things, yeah.
Or memorabilia, or you got the double-decker buses, or you've got the red phone booths, or
yes. So, but trying to describe to people what it is like to be a British person living in England, like, it's hard, and you do feel really rooted. It's hard to explain, isn't it? Like,
it is
this
hard
passion
to
that you have about it, and this, yeah. It's really hard to explain to other people.
But then do you find that sometimes you forget about that's in there in you, and then you just carry on your merry way and your Canadian living, and then you start talking about it, or you see something and you're like, oh no, this is this is where I'm from, and this is what's in me, and you kind of feel that sense of pride.
It's not always, like, people can't always see it or don't always know, but then something will happen and there's so much pride about it. Yeah, the pride. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just being proud of where you are from and where you came from.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just curious. I was curious because I had that conversation, and I really appreciated it. And if she's listening, thank you so much for that interview, because I did say, hey, I've got a podcast out. You should listen. She's like, oh, I did hear that. And I'm like, well, you should listen. So you're going to know who you are. I really appreciated spending time with you on Monday night and sharing about my story and my life. But yeah, I was just curious about your story. And
it is. Now I feel all proud.
Yeah.
And stand to attention. Sing the national anthem. No, I won't.
Alrighty, so we're going to go from that into...
who does that?
Who does that?
Do you have a who does that?
We asked it at the same time. So I was thinking about this, and I don't know if mine is a who does that or a why would you do that.
Right.
So we introduced why would you do that last week. And the who does that is more of a frustration kind of who does that. And a why would you do that is a what's going on?
Why would you?
Has your letter slipped in your sandwich or something? Or like, what's happening? So this is it's a small one, but we have containers of herbs and spices in our kitchen shelving, and we have backup containers of herbs and spices in a different area of our kitchen. So when something gets emptied, we go to our backup reserve, we take one, we put it on the shelf, we use that. When I went to the shelf, there was a little tiny itty bitty, like a centimetre worth of herbs left in this container. And then right next to it was a full container, unopened.
So that is who does that?
That's a who does that? Great. Because in the moment I did say, who does that?
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm thinking maybe it's like once this one's done, there's one right there. But in my brain, I'm thinking one Wally's not going to see that there's an empty one there. They're going to open the new one, and then we're going to get two opened ones.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just open the new one and condense the tiny little bit in? Together. I'm a big believer in condensing.
Yes. We love a bit of condensing.
We do.
So that was my who does that. I was just like, oh, who does that? Like,
a few weeks ago, we had one of those moments when there was lots of sauces opened. People don't look properly in the fridge and be like, oh, we need a new sauce. And then we go in and sort it out, and you're like, okay.
Was that when we took the picture of it?
We did take a picture. Who does that?
It was one morning.
Maybe we should put that on Instagram. That's quite funny.
We sent it because we have a group work chat. Yeah, that's right. Our work group chat.
Yeah.
However those words go together. And I took a picture of Helen, and you hold a sign saying, who does that?
Got the message across. They thought it was funny. But just look properly. Don't just have a dad look.
No.
Mine is more of a, I know the answer to this, but this is, why would you do that? Exercise. I got some funny story from a girl I used to work with. She went to the gym and it was a step class.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, I'm running late. And it's raining. So she rushes in. Sorry, everybody. And they've probably started their warm up. So she took her rain jacket off and she shoved it down the side of the step. And then they're stepping up, stepping down, stepping to the left, and then stepping to the right where her raincoat off. And she stood on her raincoat and slipped.
Oh, no.
Fell down. All of the class looked round. She had to leave. She hurt herself.
Oh, why would you exercise?
So, yeah, she came in the next day and she said, you never guess what happened. The same person then a few weeks later went to the gym and dropped a weight on her foot. I'm like, why are you exercising?
I think this person should just not go
you
to the
need
gym
to
anymore.
stop. Why would you do that to yourself? I'm not an exerciser. I just do a bit of yoga, but I hate it. Some people love it. No, not yoga.
I was
going to
say, but you love yoga.
I hate exercising.
Yeah.
I love yoga so much that I went last week on a Wednesday. Mind you, it had been a really busy few days.
And you also weren't feeling the best.
I wasn't feeling the best. And I went to yoga and I just laid on the mat and it was warm. And I'm like, I can't do this today. And I just had an hour's kip. I did a little bit and then we moved positions and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go back to sleep again.
Didn't a couple of people just say,
Yeah.
are you doing okay?
The lady said, was this a restful day for you today? I was like, yes, it's supposed to be no judgment in this room. And I fell asleep. So,
Well, it sounds like the best kind of yoga.
but I did say to the lady, I said, I hope I didn't I know
Snore?
I was asleep, proper asleep. It was lovely. So that's mine. Yeah.
So why would you exercise?
Why are you exercising?
Why would you
People injure
exercise?
themselves all the time.
So
I hurt myself
dangerous.
so badly doing legs, bums and tubs once years ago. Because they didn't warm you up properly, or I was just like,
What
this
is
is it.
legs, bums and
I am
tums?
just loads of squats and loads of
Okay.
sit-ups and loads of, like it was a class and I probably had my headband on and my little
I was going to
jazzercise
say,
outfit.
this just,
Jane
I'm
Fonda.
getting highlighter headbands, jazzercise vibes right now with the legs, bums
And I'm like,
tums.
this is it. This is the time. I'm going to do this exercise and I'm going to continue doing it. I couldn't go the following week because I still hurt. But the next day I hurt, but the next day, like it's always a 2-day you hurt. I couldn't sit on the toilet. I had to hold on to the bars at the airport where I worked because I hurt so bad.
Your legs, bums and tums
Yeah.
were too sore.
Just
Why would you exercise?
why would you do that? So no more exercise stories from you. That's it. Do you have any exercise stories?
Probably not fail stories, but we do have this running joke in my family because my boobs are quite big, much like my
Give
mother's.
yourself black eyes if you.
That's exactly that's the running joke, literally about running. Is that you can't really run really great because you just give yourself black eyes. I wish I could run, and I tried running with a friend of mine, and our goal was to do a marathon.
Yeah.
And I got up to 10Ks, so I could run.
Oh, you did well.
I did do well, and I
Yeah.
was so proud of myself. And I could run for 10Ks, and that was the height of what I got to. And then we tried to go and book our marathon because we were training for it, and we were on the long run, but we wanted to get there. But the marathon that we were going to do was the Disney World marathon in Florida in January. And so I got to my friend's house at 1:00 in the afternoon, and we were going to book the tickets. And we're doing this. The tickets went live at 10:00 in the morning. By 1:00 in the afternoon, that all sold out.
that was the end of the run.
That's the end of it. But then we didn't realize that even though it was a marathon through Disney World, you didn't actually get anything into the park afterwards. It wasn't actually all the way through the park. And then we were like, it was a couple of $100 just to do the marathon. Clearly, we did not do our homework very well. We'd have to find our way down to Florida. We'd have to stay. And then I was like, I'm not going all the way down to Florida and not going to Disney World, the actual park, after having
Not
run
running
through
round it. Yeah.
And so then after that, we're like, okay, maybe this is just not for us, and let's try something else. So now we just go for a walk and we have a
Walking.
cup of coffee.
That's a much better exercise.
better exercise.
Much better exercise.
But I wish I could still run. It's just,
But
unfortunately.
now you have to start again. I used to run I used to like running. My sister loves running, but now the thought of starting again and that, I just no.
The starting process is always the hardest.
Yeah.
And then once you get into it, you kind of find a rhythm.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it, and I hope to get back into running. When you're a heavy set person on the chest and you're carrying a couple of kilos just in boobs, it's
not comfortable.
It's not comfortable.
No. We'll find something else.
Yeah.
I think walking and coffee is fine.
There you go. There's your TMI for the week.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Okay.
Shall we move on?
To
Milo's
question of the week.
question of the week.
Okay.
So he said something interesting and we were all like, oh. So how in your head do you see the months of the year? Like, what does it look like for you?
Like in a visual form.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. So I remember being there with this conversation and I had my answer. And just when you asked me that question, it was a different answer that came into my brain straight away.
Mine always is the same.
Yeah. So and at the time, I was like, I've got mine as like it's linear. So it's January, February, March, April.
In a
line up the top. And then the next one is May, June, July. And then it's August, September, October. And then it's November, December.
Mine goes round in a clock.
Uh-huh.
So I start at January. And
like as if it's number 12? Or is January number
down
1?
the bottom.
Like January's number 6 on a clock?
Yes. January 6, and then we go up and up and up. And like the summer is at the top.
So June, July is 11 and 12. And then you start going back down again.
Back down again.
Huh. That's so fascinating. Because I knew that was your answer. And now that we've talked about this over time, when you said that question, immediately that came into my mind was the months as a clock.
Right.
And so my visual image has changed. But the funny thing is that for me, January is at the top.
Oh.
Because in New Zealand, the weather starts that way. So like it's flipped around. So January is the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And it's summer. And so it starts at the top at 6. Or not at 6. You're 6.
I don't know why mine starts at the bottom. I just think, I don't know why. I can't tell you because that's just how I've always thought of it. You'd think you'd start at the top, wouldn't you?
Well, I wonder if it's because you grew up in England and it is, summer is in the middle of the year and I don't know.
I don't know either. But what about the days of the week? Like, are you a Sunday to Saturday or a Monday to Sunday?
I'm a Monday to Sunday.
I'm a Monday to Sunday. Always, wherever I've worked, the schedules have always been
Monday to Sunday.
Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And in my head, it just goes in a line.
Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of manages.
Yeah. Then it just goes on. Well, once you've done 1 week, forget about it because what are you going to do?
Yeah, because now you've got a new line.
Yeah, there's a new line. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, yeah, everybody sees it differently.
Yeah, that's so fascinating.
I know.
Do you know, I've broken, because when we first started talking about this at work that time, I was like, mine's broken up really weirdly, like January, February, March, April, because my birthday is in April. And so I go to the first 4 months of the year because then after April, I'm like, okay, I've turned another age and now it's like the beginning of the year for me. And so that's the first 4 months. And then it's like May, June, July. It's kind of like in the middle somewhere. And then August, September, October are kind of just those throwaway months at the end. I'm like, okay, well, especially here, it's like, all right, so back to school. You've got the fall and you've got the
It's
whatever.
funny because you've got a bit of summer. August is summer. Then you've got fall. You haven't like knitted them together as in September, October, November, December.
No, and then, November, December. It's kind of like the last 2 months. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why I've broken it down like that, but that's how I first broke it down. And then now I'm in a clock of January starting at the top.
Now you're back in a clock. So at the very beginning of this podcast, I said I had another question that was emailed in from a listener. Mm-hmm. And his name is Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. And Charlie is my nephew, lives in England. And that was our third email. Thank you very much.
Love the emails that are coming in. Even though it's 3, still get excited.
Still good. Yeah, we do. So here's question of the week. Charlie's question of the week. Would you rather pee yourself once a week in public or poo your pants in private every other day?
This is such a great question.
My answer to this question is poo myself in private every other day.
Okay.
It's private.
Yeah.
Not fun, but...
Yeah. I've got questions for the questions, naturally, because it's what I do.
It's you.
But, like, what kind of poo is it? Is it like a good number 2 where you're just like, oh, love it? Or is it like...
This is too much information.
Or
it's just a poo.
Is it like my mum calls them a shart, like a fart in a shit.
That is it, a shart. If it's a shart.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Like,
yeah, shart's okay.
And if it's peeing in public, is it like you've got a full bladder and you've just got a good old trickle? Like it's a good pee for a good 30 seconds long? Or is it just like I've laughed too much and my bladder's not as strong as it would have used to, so then a little bit of trickle comes out?
I have to tell you a story. One January, we'd been visiting the kids' granddad, and we were on our way home, and we had to stop at a grocery store to pick some things up. And we went into the grocery store, picked up what we needed, and I needed a light bulb. A bit random. Of course you do. But we got outside. I didn't have a bag. I said, I don't need a bag. And I had it all piled up. And as we got outside, a gust of wind blew the light bulb off the top of my pile.
Oh, no.
So the light bulb is,
gone.
Gone anyway. Like, we can't use it. But I can't just leave it floating around. So I bent down to pick it up, and I could hear Amy laughing by the car. So then I start laughing. But then the wind comes and it blows the bulb away a bit more in its box. So then I'm trying to quickly get that. And I start to pee because I'm laughing, and I'm trying to bend down and run after the bulb. I full on peed my pants in this grocery store car park. This is like recent. This is within the last 3 years. And then I stood up and looked at Amy and said, no, I've proper peed myself now. Like I couldn't stop laughing. So then I had to find something in the car to sit on because we still had a 20-minute drive.
Oh, no.
And when I got in, I walk in, like, Scott's like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, I've got to go upstairs and shower and wash clothes. But it was not fun, and I couldn't stop it. Like, couldn't once it
started flowing. There was
no way I was stopping that. No way. Just had to give in and just laugh. And Amy just made it worse by laughing, and I couldn't. And then the bloody bulb wouldn't work anyway. I should have just left it.
What a waste of a couple of quid.
Yeah. I broke it when it fell. I should have just left it in the car park.
That's an expensive pee right there.
It was. I've had other expensive peas when I've dropped people off at the airport, or if Amy's at the airport. And, like I've got my funny tummy because I'm saying goodbye to my kid and they're getting on a plane, and then I'm like, I've got to go to the toilet afterwards. So it's like more than a pee. And I've been in there for ages. Then I come out in the car park. It's like 20 minutes. I was like, God, $20. That's the most expensive poo I've ever had.
Oh, because I needed to pee.
Pee and poo. I've got an upset tummy because I've got all worked up. Anyway, I would rather poo my pants or what's it? Shard.
A shard.
Shard my pants.
I think I'm going to say that one too. I don't think I would want to pee in public.
No.
But although it's once a week.
No, is it?
If you...
Once a week in public. No.
Depends if you know when it's coming or not. Because then you could just like pop some adult nappies on or something. Keep your day going.
Keep your day clear just in case.
I think I'd opt for a shart or a poo in private.
Yeah, I'm pooing in private.
I mean, at least you know that you'd be regular.
And nobody needs to know.
No.
Nobody needs to know. Well, thank you for that question, Charlie.
Well, thank you very much, Charlie.
I hope nobody has eaten their dinner.
Well, who's eating their dinner listening to this? Who knows?
Well, I don't know. Maybe maybe they're sitting on the toilet listening to this.
Hope you've had a good regular flow right there.
Right, come on, we've got to wrap it up. Let's do it's getting out of hand.
Thank you very much for your email, Charlie. We really appreciated it. If you want to email us, you can get in touch at pod.andanotherthing@gmail.com. Send us in through all of your stories. Oh, if you'd like to check us out on social media, you can do so at through Instagram at And Another Thing Podcast. We'll be there.
We'll be there. And we'll be back next week.
That's us for now.
Have a
great
good idea.